What happens when you rent a car and leave Bosnia's tourist trail behind? We spent 3 days winding through vineyards, medieval towns, ancient monasteries, dramatic mountain landscapes, and historic sites, discovering incredible food, unforgettable views, and places we would never have found otherwise. Come along as we embark on one of Bosnia and Herzegovina's most scenic road trips.
So we're doing something we have never done before in our travels. We have rented a car. We're here in Mostar and decided to take a road trip. It's really a gorgeous, gorgeous day today, just perfect weather. So like I said before, Chris has planned this entire road trip for us. It's a couple of nights, and our first stop is Planinić Winery and Inn. I'm very excited. This region of Bosnia is known for their wine production, and we have had some white wine since we've been here, but I'm really excited to try some of the other varieties they may have and take a tour. Now, I understand it's a family-run vineyard, and I can't wait to just see how charming it is. And the little chicken.
So we're here at Planinić Winery. We have basically just had an amazing day. We've enjoyed some wine tasting. We took a tour of the winery, and we took a tour of the vineyard. We had some grapes off the vine.
Oh yeah, those are pretty great.
And the host has been amazing. I'm gonna move over here because there's a car coming. And it's just been an overall amazing experience. We had this charcuterie plate.
Oh my gosh.
Which, I mean, I've never had some of the food on there. It was basically, they have pigs that they're raising on the farm, and they butchered and prepared prosciutto and some kind of smoked bacon that was just amazing. So it had this cheese that was, like an herb cheese.
An herb cheese, and then there was one that was similar to a Parmesan, but it was a mixture of sheep and cow cheese that was similar to the Parmesan. Amazing. And lots of wine, white and red. It was delicious.
Way too much wine for me, but that's why we're staying here overnight, because I don't have to drink and drive, which is important here. Actually, It's important everywhere. But yeah, so we're taking a walk before dinner, and just look at this place. It's amazing. It's beautiful, beautiful countryside, and we're so privileged that we could be here. Good morning from the Planinić Winery and Inn. We had an amazing evening. Our hosts were so gracious. Lots of wine, lots of food. We got a busy day this morning. I just had some coffee, and we're getting ready to start the day by heading off to a really interesting destination that we'll tell you about as we get underway. I purposely plotted this route sort of over this windy road because I thought it would be pretty dramatic. It actually is pretty dramatic. Okay, we are here at our second site of the day. The place is called Počitelj. Basically, it's like a 14th, 15th century Ottoman city, like small walled city that was abandoned, I think, around the 19th century. There are people that still live here, and it's become a very touristy place, but it's very representative, like Ottoman architecture. And it's got some great views of the Neretva River, which is basically kind of right at the bottom of the valley here. So we're going to explore a little bit. We're going to spend maybe 1 or 2 hours here, and then we're going to get on our way. So let's go see what the city has to offer. So we're trying to get up to this tower at the top of the hill because I've seen that it has some pretty good views. But this place is kind of like a labyrinth.
Beautiful.
The views up here are amazing. I can only imagine what it was like to live up here. I mean, what a fantastic way to wake up every morning and see this river flowing right behind you. These gorgeous views of the surrounding mountains. I just cannot get over how amazingly beautiful it is up here.
I just love all the pomegranates around here. It's amazing. Oh my God.
When we were planning this trip, we were trying to figure out what was the best way to kind of see the sights in this part of the country. And there are a lot of tours that come through here, but from what I was reading, they don't give you a lot of time at the sites. And we knew that we wanted to spend more time than we traditionally have found that we get when we go on any type of tour. So that is primarily the reason we decided to rent a car. Okay, I think we've seen almost everything here. We've walked all throughout the city. Now we need to make our way back down and find our car.
Like everywhere you stop, it's just another beautiful view. Into this really beautiful, almost alpine area. Really just gorgeous. It's amazing how the terrain just changed very, very quickly.
Okay, so we are on our way to Trebinje, which is a city kind of in the southeastern part of Bosnia and Herzegovina. And along the way, we wanted to find a place to stop. There is a church with a necropolis with some very old, what are these, tombstones?
Tombstones, I guess, yeah.
That we thought we would stop at because it's a good sort of partway stopping point. And the church is supposedly really beautiful as well. It's an Orthodox church, I think. And we weren't sure if it would be open. It's not. But we're going to do a little bit of filming around the outside because it really is a pretty church. And then we're going to head on our way. The necropolis is pretty interesting. Not a lot of information that we could find online about it, but we know throughout Bosnia and Herzegovina there are a number of these necropolises with these very ancient gravestones throughout the country. So we're hoping that we'll be able to see at least one more on this trip. And I think I forgot to mention the name of the town that we're in is called Ljubinje, and we're at the Cathedral of the Nativity of the Lord Jesus Christ. Good morning on a very cold day from Trebinje, Bosnia Herzegovina. It's very cold outside. We're on the river Trebinje. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Behind us is the bridge, the Arslanagić Bridge, which I just pronounced totally incorrectly. Built in 1565, somewhat down the river from here. They built a hydroelectric dam, I think, in the 1960s, and this bridge was going to be submerged, so they relocated it here.
It is about 44 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 6.5 Celsius. So that's why it looks like I'm crying. My eyes are just watering so much because of the wind, but it's worth it. So let's check out the bridge.
I'm not sure I mentioned, this is an Ottoman bridge. It looks like an Ottoman bridge, but if you're not familiar with Ottoman bridges, this is an Ottoman bridge.
One thing I love about coming out early in the morning is a lot of places you'll hear chickens and there's a rooster crowing in the background a little bit. But also I love the mountains here. I noticed yesterday how dramatic the landscape had been changing as we were driving, and now it feels like kind of like high desert. It's a lot drier than I thought it was going to be. I thought there'd be like trees all over the mountains, but it's rock, but it's so beautiful.
So I was reading about this bridge, and apparently they disassembled and then reassembled it stone by stone, which there are a lot of stones here, so I imagine
it's pretty remarkable.
It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
So there are these water wheels along the river. There's actually one on either side of the river from us, and I was reading about the history of them. And apparently they're used to provide irrigation. I'm not quite sure how that worked, but the concept was brought over from somebody that had been visiting the Nile in Egypt and noticed that these water wheels were used for crop irrigation in that part of the world, and brought the concept to here. And there are a number of these water wheels that were used along this river in the city of Trebinje.
We've got a busy day today, and since we're already out here by the river, we decided to walk over and check out the Old Town.
So I'm not sure how much is going to be going on in the Old Town. It's probably a little bit early, but we will also probably have it mostly to ourselves. All right, we are heading back to our accommodation. We're gonna get some breakfast, and then we got a long day ahead of us, so we're gonna get ready to head off back towards Mostar. So we've started our day by coming up to the church called the Hercegovačka Gračanica. And that's about the best I'm going to do with pronouncing that. We've been probably spent the last minute trying to figure out how to pronounce that just right. And I'm pretty sure I failed. But it's a church that is actually relatively new. I think it's been here about 25 years. Mm-hmm. This site,
however, has been one of pilgrimage since about the 14th century, Middle Ages. And there's been a church here, I think, in some capacities off and on since then. But again, this is relatively a new church. Very beautiful inside, beautiful frescoes. It was interesting when we went in, there was a lot of incense in the air. So I don't know if the monk who was in there, I don't know if what the incense does in the morning, there's a significance to it, but I think it's the first time we've been inside a church where it was so prominent. But it's a beautiful Serbian Orthodox church up here on the big hill in Trebinje.
And it's got a great view.
Yeah. Chris has been doing a really good job driving. Much, much, much better than I could have ever done. So hats off to him. He also did a great job of planning this little adventure for us.
All right, so we are heading up the eastern side, I think, of the country, near the border of Montenegro. And then we're going to kind of wrap back around towards Mostar, which is where we're going to be dropping off the car. It's a few hours away, but we've got a number of things planned. Interesting, I don't know if it's just the way the sun happens to shine.
So Chris tells me we are going to stop at a lake and a necropolis this morning. So that should be pretty interesting. We've stopped momentarily at another necropolis. Not a lot of information about this one, but it's right on this man-made lake, this reservoir, Lake Belecha something with a B. And you can see that it's pretty drained. It's a hydroelectric dam. And in the distance, way in the distance, is Montenegro. Somewhere in the distance is a border crossing. About 12 miles from here, I think, is a border crossing.
12 miles or 12 kilometers?
Ooh.
It's somewhere over there, and I don't know how many kilometers it is away, but it's some distance away. And potentially more interesting to some, depending on who you are, we found sheep.
So the whole time we've been driving, even since yesterday, we have been seeing these signs on the road like cow crossing, watch out for cows. And today, in the mountains here is the first time we've actually seen cows on the side of the road. And I think I got some of them. It's quite hilarious, and they're just big. And if they're gonna cross the road, you better stop.
Okay, for our final adventure on this road trip through southeastern Bosnia and Herzegovina and the Republic of Srpska, we are almost back to Mostar. We stopped off at Blagaj, which has a couple of things. A Tvrdoš Monastery, which I think we're going to go see, depending on how touristy and busy it is, because it looks quite touristy and busy. But we've decided to come up to the Blagaj Fortress, the fortress on top of the hill, because that's pretty easy to do. A little bit of walking on kind of a switchback, yes, trail. A bit rocky, but I don't think it's going to be too difficult. Parking's free. We're at the upper parking, and probably going to take us about 10-15 minutes. Stephanie was wondering why there are not very many people up here. And that is because it's a bit of a hike. It's not a difficult, like, I wouldn't say it's a terribly difficult hike, but it's enough of a hike that I would say it keeps like 99% of the tourists out of here. Plus, it takes time, and typically I think the tour buses don't give you that much time. People come to the Tvrdoš Monastery for, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 minutes, and then they go on their way. So there are some pretty dramatic views here. If you look way in the distance, and I think we can get a bit of it on video, you can see the city of Mostar, or the beginning of the city of Mostar, and the Millennial Cross in the distance. It's quite far away on the horizon, but wow, you can see everything. And we just happened to be here on the perfect day because it's just crystal clear.
Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful weather, and I think at this point we are the only people who are up here on this fortification.
Yeah, I think we got lucky.
Yeah.
All right, that was really cool. It's hot. We are gonna hike back down, get in the car, and then try to make our way over to the monastery at the very base of the mountain. We have arrived at our final destination for this road trip, the Blagaj. I think it was originally a Sufi dervish monastery. Now I think it's just a mosque, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Really what's, I think, most interesting about this place is the fact that the Buna River right here originates from somewhere within this mountain behind me. And so it's just this like really pure, clear water coming out of the mountain. This is a very touristy attraction, like a very touristy thing to do. So there are going to be lots of tourists here. It costs 10 mark to go in to the mosque. I mean, we went in, you know, it's not very large. I think the most interesting thing is really how this source of the river starts. And realistically, if you want to get the best photo op, you can do it for free on the opposite side of the monastery. And we'll put a little link in the description so you can see exactly where that is. But it's a nice little place to come out to if you're in the area.
Yeah, and the water's really beautiful. And I mean, how often do you get to see the source of a river? It just comes out of this cave and it's crystal clear. Really, really beautiful.
Yeah, plenty of tours and opportunities to get here. You don't have to drive like we did. And it's probably worth it just getting outside of the city if you're staying in Mostar. If you're curious about our trip through the southern part of the country, we created a map of every location we visited, along with some bonus locations we couldn't squeeze in due to time constraints. We'll leave a link in the description. Thanks for traveling with us, and until next time, keep exploring.